the voice of the creative economy.
With Vincent Heeringa.
It is Mr. Vincent Heeringa. Idealog.co.nz is often where you find him blogging. G'day there, Vincent.
Good morning, Wammo. How are you, mate?
Very well, indeed. This morning, talking wool.
Talking wool.
Wool.
Wool is in a tragic and sad state in New Zealand.
Is it?
It is. Not many people know that because we just assume that, for so long we've been living off the sheep's back, so to speak. And, New Zealand still has this international reputation for more sheep than people. And but actually, wool. Here's an interesting statistic for you. In 1860, wool represented 90% of New Zealand's exports. Guess how much it represents now?
Oh, I'll put it out there. 7%.
Good try. 1.5.
Oh, really? Wow.
1.5%. And it really is the combination of incompetence and commodification. So wool has, lots of people around the world grow wool, and as a commodity it's just fallen in price year after year after year. Plus, you combine that with a completely dysfunctional marketing effort, both from New Zealand and internationally, and that the two forces have combined to make wool a kind of a catastrophic and sad story for New Zealand.
Is that from the Wool Board? Do we still have the Wool Board?
Well, this is one of the issues you see in the about 25 years ago. You may be old enough to remember a little sort of triangular-shaped thing called a wool mark.
Yeah, does that not still exist?
Well, it does, but it's not well recognised, and there was a major split in New Zealand where the wool mark was one of the most recognised international brands. It was a super brand. It was like a Nike kind of brand.
Yeah, I remember seeing the ads on TV in the 80s that if your carpet had the wool mark, oh boy, it was right up there. It was the best in the world. Yeah,
that's right. Well, New Zealand broke away from the wool mark, from the international symbol, on the basis that it wanted to create the fern mark, which was our own kind of attempt at a symbol representing quality, but wanting to sell a distinctly New Zealand wool, and it hasn't worked. All that's happened is the market got confused, and that New Zealand brand is not well recognised. In fact, I don't even think it's recognised by New Zealanders.
But wasn't there were difficulties also with the overseas prices of wool? They plummeted at one point.
Yes, they did, and that's a function of just too much wool and not enough demand. Because at the same time you have synthetics, and we're really talking mostly about carpet here, not clothing. Because New Zealand makes the majority of its wool is what's called strong wool. It's a particular type of wool. It's perfect for carpets. But at the same time as there was this decline in the popularity of wool, synthetic carpets have been growing in popularity. So the synthetics have been really successful in convincing people that they're stronger, better, longer lasting.
Yeah.
And so wool has lost the marketing battle. So it's an absolute classic story of marketing at work, because the properties of wool are absolutely amazing. It doesn't burn. It's a natural fibre. It's completely sustainable. It's very long lasting. So a lot of the benefits of wool have not been sold properly. No,
we're not knitting enough scarves in wool.
Exactly. And there've been a few exceptions. I mean, you think of the likes of the Merino story, particularly Icebreaker, have been, that's been an amazing story of success. Well over 140 million turnover now, that company, and beautiful garments. And of course, what they have done so successfully is they have got a great product, but they've also got a great story. Their marketing is really superb. It's coherent. It's premium. It's very smart. Doing everything that the wool industry has failed to do, which is riven with infighting and fighting for the lowest common denominator. And
I don't see the supply issue also being reversed either, with dairy becoming more and more profitable, and so farms that were traditionally sheep farms are all being converted.
Yeah, well, that's just a function of economics, because there's not enough return for for sheep farming anymore. In fact, wool is now seen as as kind of a byproduct of the meat industry. So rather than it being an industry in its own right, it's kind of like, well, you get a little bit of money, and sometimes, not even enough money to cover the cost of the shearing. So it really is quite a sad story. But the good news is there's quite a few initiatives underway, even though the New Zealand industry is still split pretty much down the middle about what to do. There are some quite cool initiatives underway, and we're kind of hopeful, looking at it from a marketing point of view, that some cool things are being done. Like one initiative that was done was to bring down a bunch of architects recently, for international architects, with a fancy architectural magazine called Architecture Interior Technical Solutions magazine. It's got a circa of about 120,000 very high-end architects, and they brought these architects down to the South Island and did a tour of the high country sheep stations, and took them through the whole process, and then got them for the magazine to design as much as they could of a building out of wool. And apparently it was just a complete revelation to these architects what the benefits of wool, because they actually just didn't know. They actually didn't know that it was a sustainable, high quality, robust product.
And no doubt it creates a warm house.
It does indeed. So, I think there's a real there's a job to be done in wool, and to me it just kind of absolutely symbolises the New Zealand problem, which is that we've focused for so long on the production. With this rain falls out of the sky and the grass grows up from the ground, it's kind of easy to produce stuff in New Zealand. The hard part is the intellectual property, is creating the marketing and the branding and the products that require brain power. That's the bit we seem to be missing, Wammo.
It's really about thinking smarter, Vincent.
It is indeed. Well, it's about thinking in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed, and no doubt we've just launched ourselves on the road to success right here on the Radio Wammo Show.
Well, we'll see. This, I'm just quoting this from the latest marketing magazine, which is out now. The story's called Good Wool Hunting.
Great. Thank you very much, Vincent.
Pleasure.
Vincent Heeringa from Idealog. You also find him blogging there at idealog.co.nz.